South Korea's population is declining faster than it did in Europe during the Black Plague. South Korea's birth rate has officially dropped to an all-time low of 0.72 as of 2024, the lowest in the world. Now, there are many reasons for this, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos explaining them already: financial pressures, intense work culture, gender conflicts, sole centralized structure, you name it. But what's even more interesting is how young Koreans have stopped dating altogether. Simply put, no dating means no couples, no marriages, and of course, no babies. And that's becoming a serious problem. The South Korean government has even stepped in with official dating programs, and even Buddhist temples are now offering matchmaking temple stays to help people couple up.
What up, gents? Welcome to the first episode of TSG Reacts. I'm your boy, Shaun C. Let me just first preface by saying TSG Reacts is going to be whenever we're on here and I'm reacting to someone else's content. I want that content to have its own specific label because I want to make sure that I can properly attribute credit to the videos that I'm using. Sometimes this is going to be an edited video like this one is today, or in the future, it might be a 25 to 30 minute live stream, right? Short live stream where we react to it together or pre-cut. With that being said, last week on our live stream, one of you all had suggested that I take a look at, and I quote, South Korean men wearing makeup. Well, I didn't see anything specific about that, but it started making me think about this dating and relationship issue that we find ourselves in here in America, where women say they aren't any good men or that they don't need men, and men are just withdrawing from dating altogether, and they can't find any women that are worth it, that aren't just looking for money. And then that's when it hit me. It hit me that the videos that I was starting to see were actually showing a pattern of the exact same thing going on in the United States. And so if we're not careful, I don't even think as if we're not careful. I think that dating in Korea, from what I saw in this video, is really, really bad. And America, well, it's next. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed so we can continue to grow and hit that 100,000 mark. And with that being said, let's get started. Now, let me add, this is from the channel KPC with David Chin. So make sure you go check out this channel. I'm going to put a link to this video into the channel down in the description below and potentially down in the comments.
So according to a recent survey, 62.4% of non-married Koreans over the age of 18 are not in a relationship, while only 37.6% are. And that's pretty shocking.
Wow.
So why aren't people dating? Well, to start with men, the most common reason was, I don't have the financial luxury to meet someone, with 27.9% saying that. Other reasons included, I'm comfortable being alone at 25.9%, I don't have opportunities to meet people at 24.7%, and it's just a hassle at 7.9%.
The biggest reason why men 18 plus aren't dating is, they say, due to academic or financial. That's kind of interesting because the financial kind of makes sense. This is exactly what we're going through here in America, where women say, well, how much does a man have to date you? How much a man has to pay to go out on a date with you? And they throw out these numbers. The craziest is 500, a band, multiple bands. I got to get flued out. We've heard it all. But the academic one, that's the one that's interesting, because even in Korea, they are experiencing where you have these educated women who want a specific type of guy, but they can't find the guys neither. Then you see that over 25%, over a quarter of men just say they prefer being alone. That is crazy that you have men who are just disinterested in trying to talk to women, which I get. And then almost another 25% say that there's no opportunity to meet somebody. I mean, like, what does that mean? That there's no opportunity to meet somebody? Hopefully some of these questions get answered as we watch the video.
For women, the top reason was, I'm comfortable being alone, with 31.5%.
Wow.
And the other reasons were kind of similar with the men.
Something is wrong with that. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you try to shake it. To have that many women just saying that they prefer to be alone, that's a disturbing trend. It's good to some respects that women can be out on their own, but is it really? I mean, really think about it. Me and P always talk about how modern women today are acting like the men that they hate. But when you really look at this data that's here, us men, we have to be alone at some point. Think about it from a back in the day perspective. As a man, you might go out by yourself to hunt. You might go out with a hunting party, all right? And the woman would be at home. And so we, to some extent, have to be okay with leaving our family and being alone. And the women would miss us, but they were strong enough to wait until we got back. Now women are just like, yeah, I just want to be alone. Like, that is crazy. Like, you can't tell me that this shit isn't just coincidence, that you see throughout the world or through the modern world that women don't want to be with men. Listen, I don't care how crazy these modern women drive me. I'm never going to be the type of dude that don't want to be around some women. I'm just not built like that. And maybe I'm old school, but it's crazy to me the amount of men and women who like totally don't care about the opposite sex. And what I mean is from the even talking to them, being around them, they don't even care. And that's disturbing to me.
And then there's another fascinating stat. 57.3% of Koreans in their 20s to 30s said that they have never been in a relationship before. Can you believe that?
No.
And when you stretch that out to 20 to 59 years old, it's still at 25.5%. So we're not talking about just young people here, it's across the board. And what's interesting is that industries related to dating, like restaurants, bars, movie theaters, are seeing significant declines because of this so-called dating recession.
Yeah.
Even when people do date, they're dating on a budget. For your info, last year, single men and women spent an average of 74,700 Korean won, which is around $55 per date, which is down from the previous year. Interestingly, while the men pay for everything, or men should pay more, culture is still common in Korean dating. 39% of the men said that financial pressure is the reason they are not dating, compared to 0% from the women's side.
Of course, there's no pressure on women because the expectation is that we pay for everything. And what's happening in Korea right now is that if you're going to date a Korean woman, they want gifts. They want you to spoil them. They expect you to pay. But the problem is societies are being manufactured to where men can't keep up. Even if you have an okay job that you're doing well, you got your own place, you got your own car, you have all the things that women said that they want men to have, and yet you don't make enough. You don't make six figures, you don't qualify. Even though you're doing well, you don't qualify. And then if you have some type of academic background, but yet, you're not, and you're doing pretty okay, then you're a lame, you're a goofy, you're this. So women say that there are men to meet their level academically, and then when you have men that actually can challenge them academically, they're like, oh, he a goofy, he lame, he boring. I want the bad guy. You have women who are dating outside or thinking outside of who are dating outside of their group. They're looking for the top dudes. And then when they don't get it, they're like, yeah, I guess there's no men. That's not on the men. And we're seeing it not only in Korea, we're seeing this shit in America too. So in this next part, we're gonna listen to him discuss the people that are dating. So that was the people who aren't. You see there's a big crisis of people not getting together. Let's hear about how actual dating is going over in Korea.
Let's talk about the 35% of young Koreans who are dating. For them, ironically, the small luxury trend is booming. Couples are going to fine dining restaurants, enjoying hotel stays, taking long drives, which of course requires a car, and exchanging expensive gifts. For example, Park Jae-min, a 22-year-old university student, said, "Since I don't have much money as a student, I had to save up for several months just to prepare for my partner's birthday.
Wow.
I wanted to make it special, so I went all out with a fancy dinner and a nice gift." Professor Kwak from the Department of Psychology at Seoul National University explains that this trend comes from growing social inequality.
Yes.
As materialism becomes more widespread, young people feel that dating requires expensive outings and events. And for those who can't afford these things, they just opt out of dating altogether.
We can't scroll through our phones and not see a video or a clip where you have women who say you got to spend the bag on her, where she makes it about herself. You can't find it because that seems to be the thing. Women are promiscuous. They require money. They do not give any type of support or anything in return. And sometimes they don't, or they think that their cooch is the only thing that they can provide, that they provide. And even then, they still want men to spend expensively on them, and the man don't even get that. So he don't get any type of intimacy from these modern women that act like men, and some of these dudes not even getting cooch. Imagine at that point, why would you go out with any woman? Why would you go out on dates? Why would you waste your time? Much less when you try to talk to these women, there is no reciprocation.
And let's not forget social media. Young Koreans are constantly exposed to images of lavish dates and luxury lifestyles online, which only makes them feel like they can't keep up. And so far, we've covered the financial reasons why many young Koreans aren't dating, but there's more to it than that. Beyond just money, many are seeing dating as inefficient or even unnecessary. A study showed that among the 65.6% of 19 to 36-year-olds who aren't dating, 70.4% said they are single by choice. Basically, they're getting their dating fix by watching others fall in love on TV. Experts say that this is similar to how people on diets try to watch mukbang videos to satisfy their cravings. A decade ago, when we talked about people giving up on dating, marriage, and having kids, it was more of a sad, involuntary choice, known as the Sampo Sedae or Sampo generation in Korea.
He talked about the people who involuntary, right? We talk about the incels here in the States, but we're talking about dudes that just can't get women to date. They don't have options. None, zero. No women wants to talk to them. And then you have the next group up, where these are dudes who might can afford a date or two, right? But it's still expensive. It's going to eat away at their pocket. It requires time. Then they're not getting their needs met. And I believe this is the same thing here. So what happens when you have all these people that feel that way, especially these young people who get on these apps and there's all these unrealistic expectations? They think that social media, they think that the internet is real life.
Shows like Singles Inferno,
Right.
I Am Solo, Transit Love, Heart Signal, and On are all major hits in Korea right now. People are even phrasing it the golden era of dating reality shows in Korea. 53.3% said that they use these dating shows as proxy dating or vicarious satisfaction.
That is crazy. So you remember that number that he said earlier where people were saying, hey, I don't need to date. I don't really care about dating. Don't really want to. They just watch these dating shows and they're satisfied mentally. It really is a disturbing trend because it makes me think as soon as there's, the living in the VR world, there's a number of movies like that. Let me know down in the comments if y'all can think of any movies, but where people live in the VR world. I know there's Ready Player One, but I'm talking about the ones where you got to see people in these VR warehouses, or if you will, and they're living fantasies online through the VR headset. They would rather live vicariously through the TV and eventually through these VR sets than they would deal with people in real life.
Moving on, high expectations in dating are also very common. Online forums are filled with ideal types that are unrealistic for most people to meet. And recently for men, the term marry up, where women seek to marry wealthier and higher status men, adds to the frustration and pressure they feel.
So in Korea, the ideal height of a man, think about this is Korea. They want the man to be 5'10". That's what a 5'10"-ish, right? Almost 6 feet. Same thing, right? The woman, the ideal wife, there is what, 5'4", 5'5". Now these salaries, right? When you're talking about it, they want you to have savings. They want you to be making, high end. This is their equivalent of the $100,000 man, right? They want you to have education. Office worker. So whatever their high end is, they're 6'6", whatever, 6-pack, 6 feet, 6 inches, whatever. This is there. They have the same high expectations that modern women have here. Women don't want to work in the fields. They don't want to be in the country because there's nothing there for them. They don't get to live that Sex in the City type lifestyle. No, they moved to the city, in which case they are taking up all the office jobs. They are taking up all of the jobs that are high paying jobs. And so men are being forced into the manual labor because who's going to do it? The women don't want to do it.
And now let's take a look at some real comments from the Korean netizens. It's gonna get spicy, so buckle up. And starting with the ladies, I'm fine by myself. We don't eat shit just because we're hungry. It doesn't affect my life even if I don't date. You can have so much fun by yourself anyways. There's no one good looking. There's a saying, you mess yourself up by meeting a guy, but you can't get messed up by not meeting one. And that's no joke. We see so many cases of women ruining their lives after dating.
Those comments are the same comments that we see from women here in the States, is it not? Is that not the same thing that we see, that we hear? This is the mindset. These women want to just have these fast lifestyles, yet they don't want to sacrifice anything. Something is wrong when women don't want to be women anymore. And that these exact same comments are the exact same comments that we see here in the States. Let's check out what the men have to say.
Lives after dating. And from the men's side, I'm exhausted and I'd rather stay alone than deal with you. You need emotional space to handle someone else's problems and look for their good qualities. Frankly, there aren't many people who are like sweet vitamins that give you energy. It's not that I like being alone, it's just better off being alone.
Ooh.
Nowadays, instead of seeking joy, I'd rather avoid stress during my free time. To continue, here are some of the most upvoted comments from related YouTube videos and articles. I'm already in my 30s, I'm so tired and exhausted, it's more efficient to recharge by myself than having a partner.
Wow.
Nobody I know is dating anymore. After I got a job, my free time became too precious. Unless someone amazing comes along, I'd rather rest at home.
The crazy thing about that one is people are choosing to get these high-paying jobs, these crazy-ass jobs, because they damn near have to, the way the economy is. But on the flip side, think about how exhausting it is to have to go to work and in your free time don't feel like free time anymore, that you aren't willing to even share your time because you would rather put your life and your time into a career that don't matter instead of actually living life. And life isn't just about the things, it's about how we engage with people. Our interactions are the most important thing that make this life worth living. Not this money, this fiat system, or this currency system, this debt-laden system that keeps us enslaved to it. And so we spend more time worrying about some shit that don't matter instead of living our best life.
There's so many other things to do instead of dating. In the old days, there were no smartphones. Now you can just watch whatever you want, eat single-serving meals, and order delivery.
Lazy.
In order to date, you have to take care of yourself, but the standards keep on getting higher. And because of that, many people give up, and when they do, they feel like complete losers. And it messes with their ego.
I can almost see that being a man comment because the expectations are high. But that doesn't mean, gents, that we should stop working ourselves, becoming the best version of ourselves. You know, it's funny because I say work on ourselves, and I know it's kind of cliche to say that, but when I say work on yourselves, the most important things that you have in this life is time and health. And let's be honest, not everybody is doing what they need to do to be healthy. I've told y'all in the last live stream about my story, getting my labs right, feeling better, looking better, and just moving in a way that is healthier in life. And so if I can encourage you, the reason why you do these things is to give yourself more time to grow, to learn more about you. But you're not gonna really grow just by yourself. You might exist by yourself, but we grow through learning. We grow through interactions. I'm not saying you have to be around people you don't want to be around, but you just can't be around nobody. Listen, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about how it is in Korea. Do you think that dating in Korea is worse than America? Do you think it's the same as America? Or do you think America is worse? I want to hear your reasoning down in the comments below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, help us get to 100,000 subscribers. And until next time, live your best life.